Hello everybody and welcome to today's IEP Live Learn Lunch. It's wonderful to see you all here today. We are expecting a few more people, so I'm just going to give it another 30 seconds or so before we get started. But now that you've joined us in the room, please do pop in the chat where you're joining us from and what the weather is like for you as we wait for the last couple of people to join us. It's lovely here where I am in Warwickshire. We've got beautiful sunshine right now, so I'm wishing I was outside. So let's see what it's like where the rest of you are. While I'm waiting for that to come through, I just wanted to say welcome. This is the 34th IEP Live Learn Lunch. I'm really impressed with the numbers we're getting in now. And we're going to be focusing today. We've got Emma joining us from 2SimplyLearn, and she's going to be taking us through the learning management system here at the IEP and showing us how to use it, how to navigate it. And then we're also going to be looking at our sector induction as well and answering all of the questions that you might have on that. So I can see that Marwa is saying London is sunny, lovely and sunny. It's cold in London though, Zavary is telling us. Joe says, oh, it's alternating between sun and rain in Halifax. So, oh dear, well, let's hope you get lots more sunshine and lots less rain for you there, Joe. And before we get started, and while we give it just another 30 seconds for people to join, I wanted to make you aware of some of the other Live Learn lunches we've got coming up over the coming weeks. We have a session around assessment and verification. And that's going to be a really interesting one for those of you who are involved or are thinking about getting involved in working as an assessor or in qualifications. It's a great one to join us for. And Ian Cooper, who's delivered sessions before for us, will be joining us for that. We also have a session coming up in November on exploring disadvantage and understanding how we can support people who are disadvantaged in the employability sector. So that's going to be a fantastic one. And our colleagues from the Good Employability Company are joining us for that one. We have a Workspace Safe Space webinar coming up. Just about managed to say that without tripping over myself. Again, it's going to be fascinating. And also one on managing remote teams. So lots of content coming up over the following week. So it will be great to see you all at those. But I've talked enough about what we've got coming up. Today's session is around the IEP Learning Management System and the sector induction. So at this point, I'm going to hand you over to my colleague, Emma, who's going to take us through the learning management system. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it and we will make sure we answer all of those questions for you. So over to you, Emma.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for joining us today. And it's nice to hear that everyone on the whole is enjoying some sunny weather. I've got some here. I'm down in Cornwall and just got the shades up there to stop me being blinded by the lights. So today, just wanted to give you a little bit of background. My name is Emma Williams, obviously, and I'm a business partner with 2SimplyLearn. And we have built together with the three of our partners, the LMS, which is the Learning Management System for the IEP, which was built for the purpose of being able to host their sector-specific learning and give access to employability professionals all over the UK. So the purpose of this session today is to look at the IEP LMS and how it functions. We're going to demonstrate the user navigation. I have set myself up as a new user and I'll be demonstrating how that experience feels for you, what it looks like and what sort of prompts and tools will be there available for you when you first log in. We'll have an opportunity to discuss any issues that you may have had if you're already actively using the LMS. And we'll talk a little bit about the kinds of ways that you can ask for support if you are finding you are having any technical difficulties or any problems with the course content. So when you do first request access to the IEP LMS, normally that will go through the inquiries at email address for the IEP. You will receive an email which looks very similar to this. and within it you'll have the URL address for the IEP LMS website. And what we recommend to people is that they bookmark that page once you've opened it. We've had instances where people have gone through the IEP website itself to try and access the learning management system, and have found it quite a clunky way of doing it. So by bookmarking it straight away as a favourite, you'll be able to access it far quicker. The username for yourselves will be there on the email, and it's always lowercase, which makes it nice and easy to remember. And you'll be given a temporary password which will last for 24 hours from the minute you receive the email. And it's made up of a set of characters that you've got to include within your password when you set your own. And when you do log in for that first time, you will be prompted to change the password to one of your own choosing. So the IEP LMS, as we've said previously, was set up so that the IEP could launch the sector-specific level 2 induction. Now that induction consists of 20 modules plus an introduction, and was built in collaboration between ourselves at 2SimplyLearn and our partnership colleagues at CTEC Plus. We have at the moment 169 users actively taking part in the induction itself, and some of the companies that are using it at the moment include Get Set UK, Catch 22, the Salvation Army and the Educational Development Trust, who are all putting their new starters onto the course, which is great news. So we're going to have a quick look and take a tour of the LMS, and as I said, I will go in there as a new user so you can see exactly how it would look for you. So let me just pop open into the website. So when you first put into your top of your screen the URL, this is what you'll see. So this is the landing page for the learning management system, and it just gives you information about the website itself, what you can expect from it. So you can take your time to read some of this and understand a little bit more about the background behind the learning management system and the purpose of what it is there for employability professionals. You'll also see a range of courses that are particularly popular at the moment within the LMS. Another issue we have found is that people find this website and they try and click onto the courses here to access them, but of course you will need a login. Without a login, this is simply for information purposes only, and you can't access the course unless you're a registered user. So let's have a look at how that would look for you. So I'm going to log in a second. Now it's going to default to my main login, but I'm going to change that one. And I'm going to pop in the email address. Let's log in and see what it looks like. Just waiting for that to respond a second. All right, there you go. Let's try that again. Okay, so as you see, when you first log in, at the top it says you must change your password to proceed. So this is just to make sure that everything is working quite securely for you, and it will say on here that the password needs to have at least 8 characters, and you can use a combination of different mixes. So you can have one lowercase and one uppercase, a number, and then a special symbol such as an @ number or an exclamation mark. So I'm going to pop something in here. That's the existing one. And then my new password, pop that in there. And save the changes. So now it's been changed, so I can continue as a new user. And here we have the dashboard. So this is what it will look like. And what you'll see when you first log in is a tour guide that will take you through the LMS itself and give you some hints and tips on how best to use it. Now, if you end this tour, because some people don't like pop-ups, so they might accidentally end the tour. So let me do that a second. And I think, oh no, actually, I did want to use that. If you scroll to the bottom of the screen, all the way to the bottom, you can reset your user tour on this page and start again. So let's go to next. So the user tool will literally tell you what you can do at each element or each stage within the LMS itself. Talks about your timeline. It also shows you where you've recently accessed course. So at the moment, mine's blank because as a new user, I haven't actually accessed anything. The course overviews does exactly what it says on the tin. It tells you what the course is titled, and it tells you where you are in terms of how much you've completed of those courses. You can have the option to star a course to make it stand out. You can also choose to display the courses differently in lists or as it is at the moment, which is the default card view. The courses obviously can be sorted by name, and you can also sort them by last access dates. If you click on here and you want to put try to remember which one you last accessed, you can pop it into there and it will pop those in there for you. Obviously, I haven't accessed anything myself, so it wouldn't make any difference to me at this stage. And that's the end of that tool. So as you can see, we've got several courses on here, and what I'd like to do is to show you what one looks like. And what I've done is I've added a short course called 1 Minute Mindfulness, and we're going to have a go at that together. We'll read through the course. It's a very short one, and then we will do the test together. So once you've clicked on there, you'll see that it gives you a little bit of a description of the course itself, and then it asks you if you want to enter the course. So you just click the orange box there. When the course is loading on the screen, you have an option to enlarge the view that you have by just clicking this little box here and expanding the view. There we go. So this test course on 1 Minute Mindfulness, let's have a go and see what that looks like. Okay, so in this course, we have 3 mindfulness exercises that you can do in under a minute. So I'm going to give you a chance to have a look and read yourself. So it talks about mindfulness in the psychological process and some of the exercises that you can do through the practice of mediation and other training. So the first one we have here is fake yawning. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm certainly one of those individuals that if someone in a room is yawning, I'm bound to catch it within seconds myself and carry it around the room. But fake yawning is something I've not actually practiced, and this seems like a way to really take a moment and interrupt any thoughts or feelings that you've got, bring you to the moment, and then give you a nice long stretch to do that and just bring yourself back. The next thing they talk about is stroking your hands, taking your index finger and just moving it slowly up and down on the outside of your fingers, and then across to the other hand. So it's just, again, it's about being present in the moment and being aware of yourself. This one is interesting. So again, when I was reading this myself, I was thinking about the amount of times I particularly work and eat at the same time. And I'm eating while I'm working, and before I know it, the food is gone and I barely have noticed that I've tasted it or even enjoyed it for a moment. So I quite like the idea of taking a minute, slowing down, especially with that yummy looking chocolate on the screen there, and just enjoying it, savouring it, and taking the time. So that's the informational part of the course, and at the bottom here the purple bar asks you to continue. And now we have a little test to review their knowledge. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask you guys in a second, once the questions come up, we're going to ask you to pop your answers into the chat box, and Helen will take the collection responses and we'll see if we can get it right as a group. So let's have a go at the first question. So which of these is the correct description of an exercise? Was it clenching your fists, stroking your hands, or clapping loudly? If you could put your responses in the chat room, that would be great.
Okay, so we've got lots of answers coming in saying Andrew says stroking, Maria says B, Marwa says B, Les says B, Louise says stroking hands, Rehan says stroking hands. So I'm guessing without looking, I've looked stroking hands. That's
I think that's definitely, yeah, definitely the majority. Okay, so we'll submit that.
Fingers crossed.
And there you go. Straight away, the system tells you whether you've got the answer correct. So well done, everybody. That was perfect. And going on to the next question. The purpose of mindfully eating is, and there are two correct answers, to savour the texture and taste, use all your senses, finish your snack as quickly as possible, or to avoid snacking at all times. So let's have a go and see what people think.
Well, people are typing that answer in. I love to the last question, which was, oh, I was focusing too much on yawning. Excellent.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So we've got some A's and B's coming in from Etheline, Anila, Ophelia, Les, Andrew, Rehan. Amanda says second bullet. Louise says A and B. Zavary says A and B.
Okay, I'm going to stick with that and go with the majority and take these as our two answers and click submit. Let's see what comes up. Fantastic, well done, everyone's paying attention. Brilliant, thank you very much. I kind of hoped that it would say avoid snacking at all times because I could do some guidance on that. And the last question, true or false? These suggested exercises will take more than 1 minute to complete. Is that true or false?
So I'm just waiting for some answers. False, false, false. So yeah, getting lots of falses through. I think we can safely assume.
Brilliant. Thank you, everybody.
Excellent.
And there we are. So we've got that one correct as well. So if we click on the next, it will give us our results.
I'm wondering if everyone else is feeling very pleased with themselves
You are.
on a test like I am right now.
So you'll see on here that it gives us 100% score. And over here on this grade area, it tells us where the pass mark was. So the pass mark was set at 80. And actually the majority of courses throughout the induction modules are set at 80%. But what we do have is the ability to take again. So if you did, for any reason, fail and get below the 80%, you can take the quiz again. So once that's done, we can actually exit the course at the top. You may now leave this page. Bye-bye, thank you. And we'll return to the dashboard. And what we'll see at the bottom, if I now put on my recently accessed courses, last accessed, you'll see that my 1 minute mindfulness is now set at 100% complete. Now, the completion is measuring how much of the course you did complete rather than your score. The reason for this is because we have built into the system the ability to allow you to exit. We all know that work life can be very busy and sometimes you can get interrupted. So it's nice to be able to know that you can pick back up where you left off. So the 100% complete always talks about the fact that you've done the course from start to finish. Okay, so that's the courses themselves and how they look on the dashboard. You've also got up here the option to contact. So what you can do if you have any questions, what we find is sometimes people have technical difficulties to do with their browsers or the way that their IT is reacting to the software. So the first thing that you'll see on here is a set of problem solving suggestions, so that if it's not quite working for you, they have suggested, for example, changing your browser. I know sometimes that when I work from home, at certain times of the day, the bandwidth in the area gets very, very busy, normally after 5 o'clock, when everyone's coming home and the kids are using laptops or people are watching movies or streaming, and I do find it very difficult. So that can affect the responsiveness of software. If you've tried all of those things, it will then give you an option to put a comment in here, to send to our support team. It will self-populate your name and your email address, and then you can submit from here. So that's the LMS as it is. Has anybody got any questions they would like to ask me at this moment in time?
We've not had any questions come through yet. We've had a couple of questions through around people who aren't already registered, and I've replied to them around how they can register for access to the LMS, but nothing specific on using the LMS at the moment. So if anyone have a question, please do pop it in the chat and I'll make sure we put that to Emma.
That's fine. So overall, I believe it's fairly user-friendly. There are ways, if you forget, like I said, to always go down to the bottom of the page and do the user tour again. We're happy to answer any questions. Things do go wrong on occasion, and technology is exactly that, it's technology. And if you had any issues with the courses, if you had any issues getting logged in, we can reset passwords. We can certainly support you with being able to access what you need to access. So for me, for my section of the day, that's what I wanted to present to you in terms of the functionality and the usability. Obviously, the website itself has a contact option, but my email address is here on the screen, and I'm more than happy for anyone to come to me direct, so that I can help you. I cannot always guarantee that it's going to be an instant response, but it will be the same day response. So if you have anything, we always ask, if possible, if you're experiencing any glitches, that you take a screenshot of what you're seeing on your screen, so that I can then try and investigate it a little bit further, because we can't actually remotely access your screens and see what you're seeing. Although we can, as administrators, log in as you and just make sure that it's all functioning from a user perspective on your account. So what I'd like to do now is just hand back over to Helen, who's going to have a quick chat to you about the employability sector induction, and thank you all for listening.
Hello everybody, thank you for that, Emma. Now, one of the questions we just had on the chat that came from Louise, well, what are the actual modules? Well, I'm really glad you asked me, because it's given me a perfect link into what I wanted to run through with you all. So hopefully you can all see my screen now, and you can see the employability sector induction. And this is our IEP accredited learning, and it has been accredited by the IEP as at a level 2. And I'm not going to read all of the descriptions, because we have lots of modules in there. At the moment, we have 21 available modules, I believe I'm correct in saying, on the system. Emma's nodding to me, so that's great. And we do have more in development. So I just wanted to run through with you what there are. So I know we talked about it earlier. We actually have 160 people actively completing the induction at the moment, which is super exciting. So we're really pleased about that. Now, Emma did mention earlier that the sector induction has been developed in partnership. The IEP have worked with CTEC Plus and 2SimplyLearn to put this sector induction together. And you know, it's really exciting for us, and we hope that people, the feedback we've had so far has been really good, and I'll share some of that with you later. But the modules, that's what you all want to hear about. So the modules we have. We cover a variety of modules in the induction, and at the moment these 21 modules are available on the system, and they follow this order that I'm sharing with you today. And at the moment, they are all included in the induction. Now, we are currently working with sector leaders to put together what will be a variety of the induction. So we will have the basic standard induction that I don't want to say is generic, but is basic and suitable for everyone. And then we will be developing and releasing some specialist modules that you can take if they are relevant to your individual job roles, and they will be released over the coming months, so keep an eye out for them. But in the meantime, you will see from the screen that we have the introduction to the sector, which basically looks at where the sector came from, why the sector is needed, and who the key stakeholders are. And we look at the participant journey in a module, and then we go further into the participant journey by looking at participants and their barriers in the follow-on module. After that, we look at caseload management, so the basics of how to approach managing your caseload when you are new to the sector. And then we move on to some of the barriers and some of the more specialist modules that are in there. So the next one we have is sensory impairment. Now, I know you guys can see these slides, and it's probably worth me saying, I know they're very wordy and I am aware of the time, so I'm not going to read all of those descriptions to you. But what I can tell you is we do have a digital brochure that's now available. So if you would like that digital brochure so you can read in your leisure the actual content or the descriptors for each of the modules, please do let me know. Pop your name into chat now and I will get that sent out to you. Next one we've got, we have a module on learning disabilities and impairments. We have a module on physical disability. We also have a module on issue specific barriers that goes into some more specific barriers in more detail, and where to go and where to look for additional support. There is a module on understanding neurodiversity that's in there, but it's probably worth me saying at the moment that is on the list, but it's not currently available. I'm just double checking with Emma. It's not currently available, but we're working to get that made available as soon as possible. Amanda, I've just seen your comment, and yes, of course, I can get a copy of the brochure out to you. I will do so later on today. There's a module on reasonable adjustments and another module on disability confident. And then we move towards the coaching side of things. So we have an introduction to emotional intelligence. That's a really good, really interesting module. I would really recommend people to go and complete that one. And developing coaching skills follows on for that. Then we look at some of the skill side of things that you need to do with customers and participants when they're new to the sector. So there's a module on writing effective CVs. And then we move back towards coaching a little bit with our increase in personal impact. And that's a module that's all about how do you get the most out of your communication with the customers that you work with, and how your own personal approach can increase your impact when you're working with people and get better outcomes. We have a module on employer engagement and supporting you when you are trying to find opportunities for your customers. Mental health and well-being follows that, and building self-resilience. And then we also have a module, because when you think about it, all of those things I've just talked about, all of those modules, that's a lot of things to need to understand and need to be able to support people with. So there's a module in there around self and time management. So if you have all of those plates to spin and all of those things you need to be aware of, how do you make sure you can manage all of that time successfully? And then the final three modules, we have one around disclosure, which is always a tricky thing for us within the sector. And this module really focuses on how to support customers disclosing. And this module really focuses on sort of mental health issues. And Emma, I'm looking at you. I just want to double check I'm covering the right things with this. So it's mental health issues
and criminal convictions specifically, yeah, about how they can disclose those to potential employers, yeah, and how to handle employers dealing with that information as well.
Excellent, thank you. I thought that's what it was, but I wanted to make sure I was giving out the right information. And then the final two modules look at employment law basics, so making sure that any advice we give around employment law is right and correct. And then finally, there's a module on the Merlin standard, which helps us to sort of understand our responsibilities in line with DWP and contractual obligations. So those are the modules that are available at the moment. As I say, understanding neurodiversity is there. It's about to be released, but it's not available on the learning management system at the moment, but it is imminent and we want to get that out as soon as possible. So I can see a few of you, Ophelia and Louise, that would like a copy of the digital brochure, absolutely, I'll get that sent out to you. While we have you on, are there any other questions anyone has around the induction and any of the modules? You'll be doing well if you can remember them all. I should do a little quiz, Emma, like you, shouldn't I now? Chat, how many of those modules can you remember the names of? I'm not going to do that to you all, I promise.
And also maybe to think about, was there anything missing from there that you as a practitioner would feel you would benefit from? As Helen said, we are continually developing this as course content. And while we recognise that this is fantastic for people who are new to the sector or people that just want to refresh, there may be something that you feel that you would like additional strength in that we could take on board and look for potential development in.
Feedback. That was my really nervous smile, those of you. But Emma, I have enough work. But no, it's actually the IEP. We're here to help you, and this is what we want to do. And as I say, some of the suggestions may already be in the works. We're working with a few companies. We want to put together a specialist. We're putting together a specialist module on working with young people. We're looking to put together a specialist module on working with older people. So there's lots of work going on behind the scenes to get those specialist provisions put together. I can see lots of you, Andrew, Anila, Etheline, asking for the brochure, and I'll absolutely get that out to you. That's brilliant. On the screen, you can see some feedback from current learners already. And I'll leave that up there for you. I'm not going to read them all out. I would like to say to those of you who are messaged, and I messaged back earlier, if you are a member of the IEP, a few of you have asked, how do I get access to the learning management system and how do I get access to the induction? It's really very simple. If you are an individual member of the IEP, you can literally just contact myself. So if you either email inquiries at iemployability.org or helen.lee@iemployability.org, you will be able to request a login and we will send that out and we'll enroll you on the induction. It's slightly different if you are a member through a corporate affiliate partner of the IEP. What you would do in that instance is you'd speak to your line manager, who would then go and speak to the IEP point of contact, because we will have someone from your organisation who we work with. They're the people who give us your names and enrol you on in membership, and they will then request those logins for you. Now, just a little tip for those of you who are going to do that. When you do, it's highly likely that the email that contains your username and your password will come via Emma, who we have on the call to us today. And it comes from a 2SimplyLearn email address. So if you haven't received your login after a couple of days, I would say you can email me, absolutely, I'll look into it for you. Or you can, it's possibly in your junk. We're finding at the moment a lot of organisations, ourselves included, are finding that lots of emails are going into junk folders. I'm having to look in mine every day to make sure I'm not missing things. So I would encourage you to make sure that your login and user details haven't popped into that. So excellent. So I'm just looking at the chat to see if there's any questions come in. Emma, you've popped in that someone's had a wonderful idea about a potential.
Yeah, Etheline mentioned networking as a learning module. And I think something that's on the cards for us in future development at the moment is the expansion of skills-based training for practitioners around work skills. So things, we've got basic CV building in there, but things like networking, labour market, understanding the labour market and how to use it to your advantage in order to support your participants is something that we're also looking into. Being able to interview techniques, running mock interviews and group assessment sessions. So these are the kind of things that we want to be able to put there, so that especially if even if you haven't done it for a while and you want to be able to just get a refresh, you can click on the learning, take some key points and some skills from it, and then put that into practice in your own sessions.
I think that's a great idea. And actually, do you know what, while you've been saying that, I've just been thinking, we have our partners at the IEP Talent Academy who are all very experienced recruitment consultants who recruit for the sector and are doing lots of video and mock interviews, and I'm going to go to them and I'm going to ask them to come back and do a webinar where they mock some of that up, and maybe some of our attendees can be volunteers. So watch this space. I love that idea. Fantastic. Thank you. We've got some more suggestions come in. Dahlia says using digital tools and social media. Yeah, definitely. We can look for some experts on that, and we can look to bring those in.
I know that a previous session talked about utilising LinkedIn, and I have put a note from the session that I attended then as this being something that we can use, not just using LinkedIn to help your client base, but also in terms of how they use social media and the impact that can have on them in terms of their employability in the future. So that is definitely one that's earmarked.
Perfect. And so from this point of view, what you might find is that we will put together some webinars and do it as a live learn lunch, not necessarily, but instead maybe as an e-learning module, but they may follow on. So yes, obviously with the live learn lunches, I can get this content to you quicker. So I'm looking into these for you. Andrew says future possibility of a module around working with refugees and asylum seekers. Yeah, I think it's key, isn't it? I wonder whether that would sit at level 2, or maybe an introduction could, and maybe look to do that. So brilliant suggestion, and one I will take away. Excellent. Any other suggestions or questions at this stage then? I'm listening like everyone's going to talk, and I've got them on mute, haven't I? So fantastic. It's been a real pleasure. I hope you've enjoyed and found useful the tour of the learning management system. Thank you, Emma. It was really well planned. It really made it look simple. Even I can use it when you explain it that way. So that's fantastic. And I'm also really proud of us all for getting 100%. So we can all go away in our CPD 100%.
Mindfulness
today, can't we? So if there's no more questions, and no more comments, we're going to wind up today's session. Those of you who've requested the digital brochure, I have made a note, so thank you for that, and I will get that out. And I very much look forward, thank you for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you on a future live learn lunch. And Dahlia says thank you, Emma and Helen, really helpful session. No, thank you for coming. Brilliant. Oh, and Amanda's can't wait to have a go on her own. Fantastic.
Excellent.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you guys get some sunshine. I can see some out the corner of my eye, so I hope you all get some sunshine. Stay safe and stay well, and we look forward to seeing you on a future event. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.